Now there's one more little trick. I love tricks. Tricks are what make things fun and easy. I'm going to go ahead and stitch right on top of the basting, and you'll see that fullness come up in the seam as you stitch. That's one of the reasons why we do this basting technique. It's not just for matching points. And when I get to the center, we're almost there, I'm going to reduce the stitch length down to a 1, really small stitch length, really small. And I'm going to sew right across that center with that really small stitch length. And then I'm going to go back up to the 1.5. Why did I do that? Because you've got 8 sections that are all coming together in the center. And what they do is want to push against each other. So by doing that really tiny stitch in the middle, you pull all those sections in really, really tight so that you can't see any thread when they're pushing against each other. But you also cut the paper when you sew that small. So when you cut the paper, you end up with the paper coming out of the center here very easily. So now it's time for the big reveal. A couple more threads here. And we're going to take and open the block up. See, you thought you were going to get a reveal. But what I want to do is show you the back. I'm taking this middle seam that I just sewed and I'm pressing or pulling it in opposite directions. So if I get my nail in here in the center, you'll see that I'm making a little square in the center. Let me get this pulled apart here. There we go. And you'll actually see, there we go, this little square in the center. And what that does is it reduces the bulk of all those pieces coming in and going in the same direction. And you'll notice that, see how these seams in the back are all spiraling around? So that kind of separates your seams all the way around. Let me talk about opening seams for a minute, because very often it's kind of like, do I wash my fabric, do I not wash my fabric? And I'm often asked about, do I ever open a seam when I'm paper piecing? No, for a lot of reasons. The first is that our grandmothers knew what they were doing when they were pressing the seams in opposing directions, because when you open a seam, the only thing that's exposed to light and dirt is thread. And so the thread tends to rot. So covering the seam protects the thread. But the other reason is it allows you to lock these seams in so much more easily. Think about putting 2 black lines on a mirror and trying to match them up, as opposed to having 2 things that lock into place. And so now we're going to get the big reveal. Yay! So there's our block all done, and our points are perfect.